Hello, this is Alex Ramsey, host of Night of the Batman, with a review of the next episode in the series, Pretty Poison. Now, before I begin with the whole reviewing thing, let me just tell you something. I don't particularly like the Poison Ivy, or how she's portrayed in this episode. I don't know. I haven't watched the other ones in a while, so I don't know if that goes for the rest of them, but there's something that just rubs me wrong about it, which I'll get to later. Also, this is her first appearance, which I can see why some people would like it, but she just I picture her a certain way, and she just didn't. Whoever was playing her just didn't pull through. They played her too much. Too much like, I guess, a girly girl, which I guess is part of her character, but she's more, I always thought of her as more of a, like a predator, like the animal sort of way, she preys on people. This seemed like some lady. Okay, let me give you a brief summary. It starts out with Harvey, which I find this interesting. Harvey and Poison Ivy are dating in this, but before that it gives you a brief flashback, which I also like, that sets up why she has this hatred towards the mayor and later on Harvey. Anyway, it cuts back and forth between Batman apprehending some criminals from jail, and then like Harvey and them waiting on Bruce to get there. That's one of the parts I really like about this episode. And from there, it just sort of Harvey's acting weird. He wants to get married to her, which is weird because they haven't been dating that long. He passes out, goes to the hospital, and while the police are suspecting someone might have poisoned his food, Bruce sort of suspects Poison Ivy later on, and he does some digging and finds out that his suspicions were right. He eventually confronts her, they have a big fight, all that stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much the episode in a short, summarized version. If you haven't watched it, I advise you do, even if it isn't one of my favorites. I guess let's start out with the pros. Okay, the pros. Well, first off, what I said earlier, I really like the opening, the voice acting. Kevin Conroy and the rest of the normal cast, even including Harvey Dent, are really good. I like seeing Harvey Dent before he became Two-Face, and that's just a really cool thing to see, because you don't get to see that often. You usually just see him a little bit before and then after he becomes Two-Face. Doesn't really go in depth with him as a person usually, which I thought was a really cool choice that they chose to do this for the animated series. Also, I like just the weird choice of having Harvey and Poison Ivy date. Now, earlier I said I dislike how she was portrayed, the Poison Ivy character. There are certain parts that I like, and I think they're actually spot on. Like, I like that she was an environmentalist and everything, and that outside of just being Poison Ivy, and that she actually did like talks and lectures on endangered plant species and tried to keep those alive. I thought that was a cool thing to do. That was about the only thing I thought they did right. Okay. Now, the cons. Where do I start? Well, Poison Ivy. Whoever plays her has this high-pitched, sort of girly voice, and she missed it entirely, and I'm not crazy about the design at all. She just looks like someone in just like a green suit. She doesn't look anything like how she is in the comics, or how I picture her. I picture her being more plant-like than human, which they actually do a redesign, and she actually does look less human, which I like more, because she's not just some hippie with like a green whatever she wears on. she's actually like has control of plants and is maybe even has parts of plants inside her. But yeah, I didn't really care for her characterization. Overall, I didn't really care a lot for that villain. I felt she was kind of weak and just too girly. I mean, you have to watch the episode to see what I'm talking about, but I think you'll agree with me if you do. I thought the story was pretty good, but it was kind of mediocre. It had some good parts, but it wasn't that great. It wasn't anything that would end up on a top 10 list. Let me just say that. Yeah. So for my rating, I'm doing out of 5 stars again. And there's a lot of things wrong with this episode. Although there are some good parts, there's just the villain. You have to get the villain right in order for the story to work. If the villain's wrong for the hero and the villain seems lame, then the story falls apart. So if I were to rate this out of my 5-point system, I would give it a 2 out of 5. While there are some good parts, the weak story and the awful portrayal of the main villain just detract from it and make it from a potentially good episode, if they had done it right, to an okay episode. Well, that was my little rant / review of it. Hope you enjoyed it, and hope you'll watch the next one where I'll be reviewing the next episode in the series, Underdwellers.